Hey folks, today is Friday, August 1st, 2025. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. Clearly, I'm traveling, I'm on the road because I've been checking out Battlefield 6. I got some hands-on impressions to give you guys in a little bit, but before that, some other big news. The first big story is Warner Brothers not learning their lesson. Or at least that's what it seems, because website Tech4Gamers spotted a new job listing for Warner Brothers games, specifically an executive producer for a DC Comics game with a role that, quote, is overseeing post-launch content and live service strategy, ensuring ongoing player engagement. Most people reading this as hiring for another live service game that Warner Brothers has in the works. And what's absurd about this is not just the monumental failures of a lot of live service games across the board, from Sony with Concord to a million other things, but Warner Brothers specifically, who not too recently had a huge bomb with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So people are looking at this and it's like, what are we doing? We're going to keep trying. And honestly, I think the reality is a lot of these companies are going to keep trying because they can burn the money. They have the capital. And honestly, for them, it's if one hits, it's worth all this trouble, because then they can have an endless money printing machine, so to speak. It's like Epic Games trying to make Fortnite 10 times and losing a bunch of money. But then when they finally do make Fortnite, they have money forever, basically. That's how I look at all these companies, and that's what they're trying to do here. What disappoints me is not only that they're trying to do this again, but also again with a DC Comics focused thing. So once again, we're going to see some of my favorite comic book characters, probably their potential, get squandered, get wasted on some live service game. Look, it's early. We don't know anything about this game. I might sound overly cynical, but I think a lot of players are just kind of fed up with this stuff, and it's a shame to see, especially with Warner Brothers, with them doing things like canceling games, canceling the Wonder Woman game, closing Monolith Studios. It's just a lot of L's on the board lately, and this definitely is another one. I don't really have like a good ending spin to this one, so I guess maybe we should move on. But if you do want to read up on that story and everything else I talk about, of course, all of it linked in the description down below. Well, what is interesting is we did get a bunch of new game announcements this week. I think we got about 7, believe it or not. So I'm gonna run through these. If you wanna check out the trailers, they are linked below. But first we have Monster Hunter Stories 3. That's right, Capcom is still sticking to this, which is cool. Also, this is a trend with these new games announced. Some of them are kind of like re-releases or remakes, but we have Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. This is like a new version of the original PVZ game in like super HD glory. Also, Once Upon a Katamari. This is great. We haven't seen like a Katamari Damacy thing in a while, and this seems to bring like multiplayer features and just new zany, goofy antics. This one is kind of a throwback now at this point, but if you never played the original Katamari, you definitely should. They're just really fun. Also, I didn't see this coming, but there was a bunch of things in the Nintendo Direct. We can't fit them all here, but one of the most significant ones for us here on the team was Octopath Traveller 0. Check this out. This just looks really cool. A new Octopath Traveller adventure with a little bit more hands-on. You create your own character. It involves a town. I think this has potential, especially good to just see Nintendo Switch 2 getting more games. Also, another weird one is Pac-Man World 2. This is a remake of Pac-Man World 2. Like that's it. I actually remember playing the original Pac-Man World and found it surprisingly good. So yeah, I didn't ask for this. I don't know how many people did, but it's cool to see. Also, check out this one. This is Wanderburg. This is described by, as the developers, a minimalist open world action roguelike. But it's like you're commanding these giant moving castles. So you're moving these castles around, you're gathering resources, you're fighting other castles, and you're trying to expand your moving castles. Art style, charm, all that, but actually just as a concept on paper, like it's just really cool from a gameplay perspective. I hope they nail this one. Apparently this is coming in 2026 for PC. Also, check out this one. This is called Godbreakers. This is a third-person co-op hack and slash action game, and honestly, it just has a cool art style and the action looks good. I don't really have too many deep insights about this one. It's coming at some point in 2025 for the platforms, but apparently there's a demo on Steam right now if you want to check it out.
Next up, look, in this day and age, like technology is constant. Gaming,
being online, just interfacing with computers, the internet, everything, right? Technology is the mainstay in our life. So maybe it would help to learn a little bit more about it. Maybe you've considered getting into a new career field or learn a new skill just for fun. Either way, that's where our sponsor, Brilliant, can help out. Brilliant offers thousands of lessons in math, data science, programming, and AI. That's great. I've been dabbling into programming a little bit, but I'm not a good test taker. I've always had trouble learning in certain ways, and thankfully, Brilliant understands that. Their whole process is learn by doing. It's hands-on. Practical learning here means you're not just like memorizing formulas or memorizing facts and then forgetting them. No, you're actually going through and being taught the process step by step so that you can really understand. It sets up a foundation, like really introducing you to the fundamental concepts, and then it slowly kind of builds up from there, you know, kind of like a video game tutorial, but it actually works. Knowledge is power, and that type of process, like the way Brilliant does it, actually genuinely helps. Maybe jump into programming and get familiar with Python. Also now, because they're always adding new stuff, you can learn programming with functions. Maybe learn the essentials of coding and then help train your mind to think more like a programmer. So if you want to check it out and learn for free on Brilliant, all you got to do is click the link in the description down below. There's a QR code over here as well. That is brilliant.org/gameranx. And when you're there, Brilliant is actually giving our viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription. That's right. This gives you unlimited daily access to everything on Brilliant. So again, that is brilliant.org/gameranx. Click that link in the description down below for 20% off an annual premium subscription. And big thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Next up, in terms of new game announcements, Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 got a big reveal this week with live streamed gameplay, multiplayer gameplay trailers featuring Limp Bizkit, which I like to see. I thought that was very cool. I liked seeing Limp Bizkit pop up a lot in video game stuff recently. But yes, all the cool trailer flashy stuff aside, it seems like they're bringing a lot here. We have details, we have information, we know it's getting 9 maps at launch. Battlefield Portal is going to be a big part of the sequence of the whole thing, with players having way more tools and abilities to make their own content. But most importantly, it's got a release date of October 10th. And I actually talked to Vince Zampella for our podcast, Friends Per Second. We asked them, are you going to delay it? Is that something like if the game isn't ready? And they said they're pretty confident. So yeah. And speaking of confidence, they're also putting out free open betas in August if you want to check that out. You know, you don't have to pre-order the game or anything. I think that's a nice touch. So they're making a lot of good moves here. I think still the question remains is, when is the EA stuff going to rear its ugly head? Is it going to be skins, microtransactions that push things too far? I don't know for sure, but I did want to say that up front. There should always be skepticism with stuff like this. People are excited about the new trailers because, you know, it has some hallmarks and harkening back to Battlefield 3 and 4. But I gotta say, having played it for probably like 7 or 8 hours now at this point, it does seem pretty solid. We don't know how the netcode is going to be overall, but like this game has completely reworked weapon, feel, shooting, movement, all that. It's got big budget graphics, sound design, destruction, but it all was fun, most importantly, and to me, it just very much felt like what it seems like they're going for on the surface with the marketing. Like, it is actually that. To me, it felt like Battlefield 3 and 4, but like the next generation version of that. And to that, I mean like the amount of content, the amount of modes, the maps, the size of the maps, the details of the maps, and the destruction actually being pretty damn good this time around from what I was able to experience, and doubling down on the original class system. So like you have the engineer, the recon sniper guy, the medic, the assault, and all of that has been really, really good. It's still Battlefield, so it's very much like it takes a while. There's a learning curve, and it's a lot of like running, getting killed, and then respawning over and over and over again. But the amount of different things you can do, and now that the classes are back, meaning even if you're not good at like one-shot 360 no-scoping dudes, there's plenty of things you could do on the battlefield to help out. I like blowing up tanks. I like repairing things, so I leaned into that. But again, with like the feel of the weapons, the movement being a lot faster, but not just faster, but also just like you can mount, you can vault, you can dive on the ground. There's like way more directional movement, a lot of stuff there. It all led to just feeling like a good game to play. Again, that's just first impressions, just playing in a controlled environment. I don't know like how the netcode is going to be, how the servers are going to be, so to speak, but in terms of like what they are building, what they are constructing, the work in progress I got to see, I had fun playing it. It was way better than Battlefield 2042 at launch. I know like they fixed that game later on, but still this feels like they're going for something different. And it's, in my mind, it's okay that they're going for the glory days of Battlefield 3 and 4, because that's what a lot of people want. So if they can nail that, that's great. And from what I've seen, it seems like they're at least on the right track. That being said, it's not my final judgment, my final word, or anything like that. Like I said, the game is releasing in October, so we're gonna play it then, get our hands on it, do it before you buy, that whole thing. Also, full disclosure, EA did invite me to go play Battlefield 6, but like I didn't take a free trip or anything. I paid my own way to get there to check it out. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about it more in other videos, so keep your eyes peeled. Now in other news, Sony has responded to the Tencent ripoff game, the bootleg Horizon Zero Dawn that a lot of people were calling that. So now it's official. Sony has filed a lawsuit against Tencent over this game called Light of Motoram. This trailer dropped a while back, and shout out to people who play video games, to gamers online. They always call these things out first. They were way ahead of the curve. This does look like it's taking a lot from Horizon, and it seems like Sony believes that as well. Sony is, according to GameSpot, going after Tencent, quote, for copyright and trademark infringement, with Sony demanding a trial by jury. Sony has said it's trying to prevent the release of the game. Quote, Tencent's copying of Horizon is so blatant that the public has described it as a crazy, insane, and shameless move. Along with that, Sony did talk about how they're trying to flood the market with these confusing other things that just kind of vaguely look like something. So yeah, I think it's the right move here, honestly. Obviously, that can be a slippery slope because plenty of games borrow things and ideas and even visual styles from other games. But here, with it being so blatant, yeah, I'm curious to see how this actually goes down. If it gets to court, what's gonna happen? Because we're talking about two heavyweights that just have a bunch of money and they can go at it. So let them fight. Also, I wanted to point this out. This is still developing, but a lot of people have been calling this out. It seems like some games are being taken down due to, I guess, like payment restrictions and stuff like that. So both Steam and itch.io, the indie game marketplace online retailer, has taken down certain games because of pressures from the payment processor companies. The companies that essentially allow them to sell games like, like Visa, Stripe, things like that. Apparently, they legally don't want to be involved with like transactions of any games that are considered like adults only or not safe for work. And a lot of games have been suddenly taken down and a lot of gamers disappointed. Now, on the surface, people think it's just weird porn games taken down, but it seems like it's more than that. Some other games have gotten caught in the crossfire. Some games that are just experimental, weird, gory, what have you, and a lot of gamers and people out there are arguing that this is a slippery slope. Because yes, there are some games that maybe should have been taken down, games that like just are like nasty and not good. But there's of course like the never-ending discussion of like the line of like freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and stuff like that. So as of right now, this is still going on. A lot of gamers are like, doing what gamers do, rising up with this stuff. And also itch.io has actually brought back some of the games that have been taken down, but I think it's worth keeping an eye on. I'll link an article about it in the description down below because, again, it's not just about like some games just being like weird and like borderline criminal and maybe they should be taken down. But then it's just, it could lead to other things like just porn games. And even if I don't like porn games, but then it's like, okay, like what about like overly gory games or games that just deal artfully with like, taboo topics. It all comes down to art, expression, obviously the sale of those things, where you feel. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation. And we're going to be following it and seeing how it goes. Like I said, it's still developing right now. I'm not an expert at talking about this stuff, but I definitely wanted to keep you guys informed. I'm going to link a couple of different articles because honestly, it's confusing because even like big websites, like they cover it, they explain it in different ways or they feel different ways about it. So I'll link some articles for you, make up your mind. Also, one last nice little update for you. Hollow Knight Silksong does exist, to the point that it's actually going to be playable at Gamescom. Yes, that's right, it's official. The developers have revealed that at Gamescom, the big convention in Cologne, Germany, I went last year, I absolutely loved it. I want to try and go again next year, but yeah, the year I skipped going, Hollow Knight is actually going to be playable for fans that are willing to go to the convention, wait online. And that's great because that means it exists, right? That might mean it is actually coming soon. No solid release date or info or anything yet, but hey, if any of you guys can get to Gamescom, if any of you guys live in Germany or surrounding European nations, I'd love to see you get there, get your hands on it, and let us know Is it real, and is it good and worth the hype? But that's everything we got in the gaming news world, just stuff I wanted to get you caught up on real quick. So let me know in the comments what you think about everything. You know, I just had some quick Battlefield 6 first impressions, but also the 7 new games announced, Sony cracking down on Tencent with the RIPOFF game, and of course, what is Warner Brother doing, man, with the live service thing? Are you as frustrated as I am? I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, but every once in a while I'm like, God damn. So let's talk about this stuff. Hit me up. We'll be down in the comments as much as possible, but things get a little crazy. So if you want to yell at me directly, you can find me on the podcast I do, Friends Per Second, my other YouTube channel. Just look up Jake Baldino. That's really it. Just look up Jake Baldino anywhere. But thank you if you did. Either way, that's all I got for you. Clicking a like button helps us legitimately because I put out this video every Friday, never miss, just getting you caught up quickly. But that's it. I talked a lot, so that's it for me. I'm Jake Baldino. Have a great weekend, be safe, and pizza's on me. See ya.